Chu Xuan spoke calmly. Junior brother Chu may go if he wishes. There's no need to ask me. As for myself, with this major issue at the Extranean cave, I must keep watch. I cannot leave, he continued. Xu Ming looked somewhat disappointed and hurriedly persuaded. Senior brother. But the remnants of the Never-Dao sect are there. Once we find some treasures. He trailed off. Chu Xuan waved his hand dismissively. I need to focus on my cultivation. With that, he vanished in a flash. Xu Ming felt even more disappointed, glancing at Li Xiaoman. Senior sister, shall we go together? After careful consideration, Li Xiaoman shook her head. No, I will stay here to teach the disciples. Sighing deeply. Xu Ming muttered. We cultivators should strive forward courageously. I didn't expect both senior brother and senior sister to retreat. He controlled his flying magic tool and left in the blink of an eye. Li Xiaoman cast a few more glances at Chu Xuan's cave. Lost in thought. Before departing in the opposite direction, Chu Xuan sat cross-legged in his cave, smiling lightly. You can't reason with a mad dog. He could see it at a glance, no matter what he said. Xu Min would go to the Ghost Palace. As for Li Xiaoman, she truly lived up to her background as a demonic cultivator refined from a loose cultivator. Only those who know how to avoid danger and seek fortune can live long. 5 days later, Chu Xuan, who had been closely monitoring the situation, received 2 pieces of new information from Chen Ji. A large number of disciples from small sects and loose cultivators had entered the underground ruins, and most of them had not returned. However, a small number of cultivators brought back treasures from the ruins. The cultivators from the righteous 5 sects immediately decided to enter the underground ruins. Wei and Wurin, Chu Min, they should have gone in, Chu Xuan mused. The Ghost Palace. I wonder how many more lost souls it will claim, he sighed lightly. Another 5 days passed. Chen Ji personally came to the entrance of Chu Xuan's water curtain cave to pay respects. Chu Xuan was somewhat surprised. Why did you come by yourself? Chen Ji's face was solemn as if shrouded in an unbreakable dark cloud. He said gravely, Uncle Master, something big has happened. Chu Xuan prompted, go on. Only then did Chen Ji speak in a grave tone. Around the underground ruins, there's a dense black mist covering the sky, even shrouding half of the misty mountains. Some demonic beasts trying to escape were instantly drained of their essence by the black mist, turning into dried corpses. It's said that a cultivator in the late Foundation establishment stage tried to save his fellow Taoist, rushed into the black mist, and within a few breaths, he was drained of flesh and blood essence. The informant I had placed there is already dead. I learned this from a surviving cultivator. Chu Xuan's heart raced. A major event. Indeed, this was a colossal matter. The Ghost Palace was definitely not a treasure trove easily accessible to just anyone. Even if there were treasures, they were not something ordinary people could take. Chen Ji continued, there's also. Chu Xuan furrowed his brow and then relaxed it. I understand. Is it the northern or southern sects? Which one has shown movement? Chen Ji looked at Chu Xuan with reverence, nodding repeatedly. Several days ago, a team of cultivators from the Heaven-Burning sect stormed into the Wu province. The main halls of the Heavenly Seal sect, located in the southern reaches of the Wu province, have already been occupied by the Heaven-Burning sect. From the direction, they are heading straight for the main hall of the Heavenly Seal sect. Whether there are Golden Core experts among them is still unclear, but I guess there must be. Chu Xuan sighed lightly. The situation had become clear. Adjustments were indeed necessary. Anxious, Chen Ji asked, "Uncle Master, what should I do? Could you please give me some guidance?" Chu Xuan replied calmly, "You are a mortal without an immortal family." Chen Ji paused, then realized, "I have married 4 concubines and owned 6 mansions and over a dozen shops." Before he could finish, realization dawned on him, a deep sorrow flickering in his eyes. "I understand now, Uncle Master." With that, he turned and left. As he departed, he wiped away tears and said in a heavy voice, "Chen Ji is leaving. Uncle Master, please take care." Chu Xuan merely nodded slightly. Chu Xuan piloted the green shadow shuttle to the highest peak of the boundary in the Extremian cave. He allayed the symmetry of fallen cultivators from the Extremian cave. Now, there was only one grave mound here. On the tombstone were engraved a few large characters. Senior brother Li Zhenshen's grave, erected by junior brother Chu Xuan. Chu Xuan had never been proficient in calligraphy since childhood, so the carved characters weren't very pleasing to the eye. They couldn't be called elegantly flowing at best. They were crooked and slanted. "Senior brother, it's rare for me to visit you. Please don't blame me. Now that there's been a change, I'm also planning to leave." In our Extremian cave, Li Xuanming was killed by me. Wei Tin betrayed us, and Xu Ming has reached foundation establishment and probably won't last long. Among the former Qi refining disciples, only Chen Ji is still alive. I don't know if he can survive this catastrophe. Maybe when I come back next time, even Master might be gone. Chu Xuan shook his head incessantly. Cultivation was so cruel. Those around you would disappear one by one. Perhaps only those who understood the art of survival could endure till the end. Chu Xuan dismantled most of the formation in the water curtain cave, leaving only the simplest mist array. As for the formation soul, twin-headed python, he naturally took it back. Chu Xuan piloted the green shadow shuttle northward all the way. He stopped only when he was about to reach the boundary of the Imperial Spirit Mountains. "It's just here." Chu Xuan looked at the towering mountain in front of him, took out the evil soul chain, and vigorously pounded it, quickly smashing open a cave in the mountain. The cave was very rudimentary, with only a stone bed. Then he arranged various arrays such as the mist array, warning array, gathering spirit array, and tilling array. Only then did he sit cross-legged. Chu Xuan traveled between the 2 realms through the blood mirror, with each drop-off point fixed. If he crossed from the water curtain cave to the blue star, then the next time he returned to the Mystic Azure Realm, he would still appear at the water curtain cave. He knew what awaited him then. So he chose to establish a rudimentary cave in this remote and thinly inhabited place with sparse spiritual qi. Leaving the Mystic Azure Realm again, setting a small goal for myself, reaching foundation establishment 9th layer before returning. Chu Xuan didn't linger, immediately using the blood mirror to cross over to the blue star. Shortly after Chu Xuan left the Mystic Azure Realm, a team consisting of 4 golden core experts and 30 foundation establishment cultivators from the heaven-burning sect swept through the Wu province like a sharp blade, heading directly for the main camp of the Heavenly Seal sect. Most of the golden core cultivators of the Heavenly Seal sect had entered the Ghost Palace in search of treasures. The remaining golden core cultivators left behind were nowhere near enough to resist the well-prepared and well-equipped team from the heaven-burning sect. In the end, the nascent soul master of the Heavenly Seal sect came out of seclusion. The long-awaited nascent soul master of the heaven-burning sect immediately engaged in battle. The 2 sides fought fiercely for 7 days and 7 nights, breaking mountains, cutting off rivers, and altering countless landscapes. Ultimately, the nascent soul master of the Heavenly Seal sect was slightly inferior in strength, severely injured, and managed to escape. The morale of the heaven-burning sect cultivators soared, and under the leadership of their nascent soul master, they directly attacked and shattered the mountain protection formation, annihilating the main hall of the Heavenly Seal sect. Subsequently, the heaven-burning sect launched a massive invasion, completely occupying all the halls and strongholds wherever they passed. The ordinary people, who worked by sunrise and rested by sunset, had no idea that the colossal entity looming over them had been completely replaced by an even larger one in just over 10 days. All the turmoil of the Mystic Azure Realm had now become fleeting smoke in the wind. Chu Xuan reclined leisurely on a soft velvet chaise lounge. The venom scripture floated before him, turning its pages without any wind. Chu Xuan's right hand moved ceaselessly, various poison powders swirling out inadvertently. The poisons within the venom scripture could harm cultivators in various ways. Some could damage the soul. Others could cause bleeding from the throat. Some could hinder spiritual chi. And others could drive one into a bloodthirsty frenzy. However, at the Foundation establishment level, with the protection of spiritual chi shields, it was difficult for poison powders to infiltrate through the mouth or nose. So Chu Xuan was currently studying the art of poisoning silently and stealthily. As long as the opponent didn't notice his poisoning, there would be no need to trigger their spiritual chi defenses. Even if these poisons couldn't kill the opponent, as long as they had some effect, it could give him a stable advantage in battle. For now, I can't return to Mystic Azure Realm. I might as well cultivate the necessary materials for refining poisons in the zombie farm myself. Chu Xuan snapped his fingers, and the purifying corpse respectfully growled lightly, taking the spirit plant seeds from the storage bag and diligently cultivating them. Although this purifying corpse wasn't talented in spells, for some reason, it was quite intelligent. It quickly learned many things, including cultivation. Just by watching Chu Xuan operate a few times, it perfectly replicates it. Chu Xuan entrusted this task entirely to it. The feeling of not needing to personally handle everything was truly wonderful. Next, Chu Xuan frequently shuttled between the soul-capturing evil nurturing array and the Haodai Hotel, absorbing in evil chi, refining the large blood pearls, and perusing ancient texts. Doing everything simultaneously and making steady progress, Chu Xuan found that his merit might actually enhance his comprehension. Otherwise, it couldn't explain why he was mastering the art of poisons at an increasingly rapid pace. Half a month later, the intelligence from Black Blade was once again laid out before him. The main contents were mostly the same, detailing situations from various regions. Just the expansion of supernatural beings' territories, and conflicts erupting between different forces. However, what surprised Chu Xuan somewhat was that the Science City, rising in the north of Han Country, had already begun to encircle and annihilate the zombie empress, seemingly gaining a significant advantage. But it was only a slight surprise. No matter how powerful the Science City was, it was still formidable only in the eyes of the humans of this planet. In his view, it was akin to a small sect formed by chi refining cultivators. Even the small sects in the Kingdom of Yu with Foundation establishment cultivators were far inferior. Chu Xuan continued to read and soon came to the last item. 2 superhumans sent by the Science City found us and hoped to invite the Immortal to join the Science City. I, on behalf of the Immortal, declined their invitation. Wen Genjian. Chu Xuan chuckled lightly. If they truly understood his strength clearly, they would be actively seeking to affiliate rather than inviting him to join. Wen Genjian did the right thing. Indeed, there was no need to waste time with such people. 5 days later, Tulong City. A diminutive and emaciated figure calmly navigated through the steel and concrete jungle. His body was covered in scars, some from flames, others from frostbite. There used to be a swarm of killer bees in Tulong City. Many survivors were forced to flee their homes. But now these killer bees are nowhere to be found. That immortal likely set up something in Tulong City, restraining those killer bees for his own use. The agile mind of the slender figure raced swiftly, emitting even wisps of white steam from his head. He was He Shenliang. Initially, he and Ji Xingyu had agreed to find a powerful brain enhancer to help them retrieve their lost memories. However, such enhancers were rare and they struggled to find one. In the end, they settled on Chu Xuan. But judging from Chu Xuan's actions, He Shenliang deduced that he was no saint and wouldn't easily agree to their request. Therefore, they needed a sincere and substantial gift. Initially, their choice was the zombie matriarch. However, Chu Xuan had already taken it before them. Later, they decided to head north to find other zombie matriarchs. Yet, this decision plunged them into endless nightmares. As soon as the two were spotted by members of the Science City, they faced relentless pursuit. Several months ago, they were even captured and frozen for research by the Science City simultaneously. Fortunately, He Shenliang seized an opportunity and escaped. He fled southward, barely managing to reach here. Initially pursued by 4 pursuers, he devised a plan that killed 2 of them. Now, only 2 level 4 superhumans remained, and he was running on fumes. Sure enough, He Shenliang stared ahead at the churning black mist, a flicker of fear in his eyes. Such terrifying black mist. If I go in, there's a 50% chance I'll die. But if I don't go in, it's 100% certain death. He Shenliang clenched his teeth. He's in there. Once that. At this moment, shouts came from behind. He Shenliang turned to see a heavily modified heavy-duty jeep plowing through debris along its path straight towards him. There were 2 people in the jeep. They had spotted He Shenliang and the thick black mist rolling ahead of him. He Shenliang glanced deeply at the 2. Then, without hesitation, charged into the black mist. Screech. The speeding jeep abruptly halted, leaving an unsightly trail. 2 superhumans jumped out of the vehicle. 1 man and 1 woman. The man on the left was burly, with knotted muscles. Both wore blue and white uniforms. On their chests was an emblem depicting a city illuminated by stars. It signified that both were superhumans of the Science City. Without the stars, they would just be ordinary members of the Science City. At this moment, both stared uncertainly at the area enveloped in black mist. The burly man spoke gravely, "This place is eerie. That kid rushed in and might very well die. Xiaomai, what do you think? Should we report to headquarters that the kid is dead?" The woman licked her lips. The headquarters orders were clear: alive we need to see the person. Dead we need to see the body. How can we report without a body? I actually find this place rather pleasant, it feels quite comfortable to me. The burly man was startled, then exclaimed with delight, "You mean there's negative energy in the black mist?" The woman nodded vigorously. "Such pure negative energy? I've never seen it before. I'll try it first. If I can absorb it, that means we can go in and capture that kid." With that, she approached the edge of the black mist and extended her hands. In her palms, 2 swelling vortexes moved slowly. Crackle. The black mist was slowly absorbed into her body. In an instant, the woman felt a sensation of floating on air. She felt her power expanding rapidly. Level 5. Level 6. Level 7. She didn't know. All she knew was that, at this moment, she felt transcendent, as if she had surpassed the universe. You came the frightened shout of the burly man. What's wrong? The woman tried to speak but realized the sound that came out was no longer human. She looked down and was shocked to see her body had inflated into a sphere. And then, like a balloon filled to its limit with air, exploded. What it looks like for a human body to explode from the inside out is something few have ever seen. Even amidst the zombie outbreak, the revival of psionic powers, and various strange events on Blue Star, the spectacle of a human body detonating in such a spectacular fashion was a first for this burly man. Red blood, black viscera, white brain matter, and assorted limbs and fragments rained down from above. Tongue. A piece of skin, still attached to some hair, fell in front of the burly man. He bent down, trembling, and picked it up. His heart was full of fear. Even though psionic powers were rapidly evolving and people were advancing to higher levels every day, a level 4 superhuman, whose physical condition was far superior to that of an ordinary person, had just been blown apart like that. The burly man had worked with the woman many times, from battlefields to forests, and then to bedrooms, bathrooms, and toilets. He knew the strength of her body like the back of his hand. He even knew what her talent was. That was precisely why he was even more terrified now. The negative energy contained within this black mist was so fearsome that even she could not control it. The burly man took a deep breath, ignoring the stench of blood in his nostrils, and immediately pulled out a satellite phone. Hello, headquarters. This is Old Wan. Yes, Xiaomai is dead. She died right in front of me, exploded into many paces. She died from absorbing too much negative energy. There's a huge blacker. Before he could finish his sentence, he saw a figure burst out of the black mist. The figure was nearly 3 meters tall, burly and strong, like a steel tower. Especially notable were his incredibly muscular and powerfully aesthetic thighs, legs the burly man had always dreamed of having. The burly man's pupils suddenly shrank, because he saw the other man throw a punch. The fist moved fast. He didn't even have time to react. Ben. The sack-sized fist instantly shattered the air, bringing a foul-smelling gale, and struck the burly man's face. Crack. The human skull, typically the hardest part of the body, was smashed by that single punch. The satellite phone in his hand was also shattered into countless electronic components. HMPH, who lifted the headless body of the man with one hand and walked back into the array. After a moment, it arrived at the center of the array and stood respectfully beside Chu Xuan. Feel free to eat if you want, no need to ask me, Chu Xuan said casually. Ho ho! Who excitedly roared and pounced on the burly man's body, greedily devouring it. At this moment, a skinny young boy lay prostrate in front of Chu Xuan, whose chewing did not faze him in the slightest. Chu Xuan looked down at the boy from his elevated position. He had been practicing within the array just moments before. Suddenly, the young boy had barged in. He had observed the actions of the man and woman who followed. What surprised him was that the young boy had managed to resist the erosion of the yin evil and come to him. Using the array, this person had killed his pursuers, bringing unnecessary trouble upon himself. To Chu Xuan, this was akin to stirring up trouble and exploiting him. Originally, he had planned to casually kill this person, but the words spoken by the other party had piqued his interest. Whether to kill or not was merely a thought in his mind. So, he decided to hear out the young boy before making a decision. Chu Xuan said calmly, "Repeat what you just said." He Shenliang said earnestly, "I know where psionic originated." "Continue," Chu Xuan prompted. He Shenliang continued seriously. 10 years ago, in a deep mine shaft, the Science City discovered shattered ancient artifacts emitting powerful psionic energy. Those who first encountered these ancient artifacts, some turned into zombies, while others became superhumans. The psionic that swept across the country originated from an underground base storing these ancient artifacts, spreading in all directions. Science City believes that these ancient artifacts are the origin of psionic. The reason Science City has a large number of superhumans is also thanks to these ancient artifacts. With time, given enough time, they might even create powerful superhumans comparable to immortals. After saying this, he Shenliang looked straight at Chu Xuan, his gaze intense. "Immortal. I know where those ancient artifacts are hidden, and I can lead you to find them. I am a brain enhancer, and I suspect you may have soul-searching spells. So I have already locked my brain. If you attempt to soul-search directly, I will die immediately." He Shenliang continued, "I know you dislike being manipulated. I only wish to rescue my companion from there. If successful, I will take my own life. I just asked for one chance, immortal." Chu Xuan looked at the young boy, a smile playing on his lips. Interesting. Before barging into the formation, this young boy had planned everything meticulously. He even anticipated that Chu Xuan would start killing after finding the ancient artifacts. Dealing with smart people saved a lot of effort. "I agree," Chu Xuan said calmly. He was only interested in the ancient artifact emitting strong psionic energy. As for this young boy, even if he succeeded and then betrayed and tried to escape, Chu Xuan could easily kill him. The only difference would be in the timing of his death. "Thank you, immortal." He Shenliang bowed deeply to Chu Xuan. The location of the underground base is in the capital of Yuyang Province, Yanjing City. Currently, Science City has a 45% probability of taking this seriously. The personnel stationed at headquarters are at most 10 superhumans. The remaining superhumans are divided into 2 teams. One team is in the final stages of encircling the zombie empress. They have a 63% probability of bringing the zombie empress south to intercept. The other team is heading west to resist the man-eating vines. They have an 88% probability of abandoning their resistance against the vines and heading east to intercept. Both teams have more than 20 superhumans, with the strongest being level 6 superhumans. In addition, there are over 100 combat servants. Although selected from ordinary people, their combat skills are solid. All among the elite of ordinary people. Chu Xuan nodded slightly. "I understand." "Lens guy?" "Yes," he Shenliang nodded. Chu Xuan controlled the green shadow shuttle and immediately ascended into the sky. He Shenliang, being just a mortal, couldn't withstand the high-speed airflow generated during flight. Therefore, Chu Xuan enveloped him with a layer of spiritual qi to prevent him from being blown off. Standing on the green shadow shuttle, he Shenliang looked down at the ground, deeply shocked. Such methods truly befitted an immortal. Coming to find an immortal was indeed the right choice. It was a pity that Jixingyu couldn't witness this awe-inspiring scene. In Yuyang Province, Within a ruined city, a team of Science City superhumans was cleaning up the battlefield. Surrounding them were accompanying soldiers. They were well-equipped and coordinated seamlessly. Like living tanks, wherever they went, all zombies were crushed into pieces. Standing at the highest point was a bald, muscular man lighting a cigarette. The loose-fitting combat uniform of Science City on him looked like a tight shirt. His robust muscles were outlined prominently. His name was Chu Xuan, a level 6 superhuman, and the captain of Science City's first team. He was also one of the 4 level 6 superhumans in Science City. However, he was well aware that they were merely servants of Science City. The real power lay with the City Lord, who resided in the deepest levels of Science City's headquarters. Their strength as level 6 superhumans was a gift from him. It was like a collar around a dog's neck. What could be given could also be taken away at any moment. Boss, all the minor zombies have been cleared. And there are no survivors in this city, a blonde man came over. Chuckling. The tall woman beside him said indifferently. The 2 survivors you just killed weren't survivors. The blonde man laughed oddly. I heard them speaking ill of Science City. So killing them was justified. Chu Xuan calmly said, don't kill survivors indiscriminately next time. Survivors brought back to Science City are at least a labor force. And even if their physical condition is poor, they can be used for human experiments. The blonde man shrugged, got it. I'll make sure next time. Chu Xuan said calmly, the mission is complete. Let's take the zombie empress and head home. Yes. All the superhumans responded in unison. In the center of the clearing, there was a huge metal box. The front of the box was transparent. Through the tempered glass, one could see a huge, bloated zombie inside. It was the zombie empress, which had been rampaging through the northern part of Han country, expanding its territory without restraint. Now, it was restrained in the small box, both angry and fearful, unaware of what fate was about to befall it. At that moment, Chu Xuan's satellite phone rang. He answered the call, hearing the orders from Science City headquarters. Chu Xuan's thick eyebrows gradually furrowed. The tall woman noticed Chu Xuan's change in expression and asked, Boss, what's up? Is there a new mission? Chu Xuan nodded, Old Wang and Xiaomai are dead. Headquarters believes he Shenliang might have gotten help from a cultivator. We need to change our plans and head south immediately to join the second team and intercept the cultivator. The blonde man perked up, a cultivator. I've been wanting to meet one. He's just a powerful superhuman who calls himself an immortal. What a poser. The tall woman, smoking a slim cigarette, chuckled lightly. I'd love to see what a cultivator looks like on the dissection table. It must be interesting. But are we really joining forces with the second team to hunt him down? Did headquarters really get that order right? Isn't this a bit of an overreaction? Isn't the second team supposed to be heading west to stop those invasive man-eating vines? Chu Xuan replied calmly. We don't question headquarters' orders, we just execute them. All units, move out. We are heading south. Yes. Under long highway. The landscape was barren, with scant vegetation. The nutrients in the soil seemed to have been completely depleted. A convoy was heading west. This convoy consisted of 25 jeeps and 5 vans, all of which had been modified. The panels and glass were reinforced, and the fronts of the vehicles were fitted with spikes made from scrap materials, capable of plowing through any zombies foolish enough to charge at them. In the lead vehicle, in the driver's seat was a skinny man. In the passenger seat, said a corpulent woman who nearly filled 2 seats, squeezing the skinny man almost against the car window. The corpulent woman was Jasha and the skinny man was Li Wan. The two were the captain and vice captain of the second team and were known within Science City as a model couple, not because they never argued or fought, but because their teamwork was flawlessly coordinated. "There's green up ahead," Li Weng said impatiently. Jiaxia, however, was just bent over painting her nails. Li Wen cursed under his breath, "You muff." Jiaxia slapped Li Wen hard across the face, leaving a bright red handprint. "Say it again." Li Wen covered his face. "Honey, you misunderstood. I actually meant your mother makes great pork cutlet rice. Let's go eat together next time." Jiaxia burst into laughter. "Sure. I love pork cutlet rice the most." Only then did she glance ahead. Immediately, she noticed a stubbily growing tendril of tender green amidst the gravel and stones by the roadside. This touch of green in the barren land was surprisingly refreshing. However, the superhumans of the second team knew exactly what it was, a man-eating vine. Of course, this was just a stray vine that had spread here by chance. Jiaxia casually pointed, and the air condensed into invisible bullets that burst forth. Pew pew pew. In an instant, the man-eating vine was riddled with countless invisible air bullets. Collapsing to the ground, green juice flowed everywhere, even staining the barren land green. Just then, the phone in the car rang suddenly. The ringing was shrill, like a banshee scream, sharp enough to compel an answer. Frantically and anxiously, Jiaxia searched for it. Finally, she found the satellite phone tucked under her own buttocks. She hurriedly answered, listening to headquarters instructions. After a moment, her expression darkened. "Turn around immediately and rendezvous with the first team." Li Wen was taken aback, annoyed. "Turn around? Why? Are the idiots at headquarters out of their minds? We've come this far." Slap. Another fiery red handprint appeared on his right cheek. A real man can be flexible when needed. With Li Wen's command, the entire convoy of the second team turned around to join forces with the first team. Shenzhen City, Yiyan Province. Following the orders from Science City headquarters, the first team was stationed here. Captain Chu Xuan surveyed his team members and spoke in a deep voice. "Everyone, listen to my command. Elemental superhumans, immediately fortify defensive positions based on the terrain. Enhancement superhumans, prepare long-range consumable ammunition, at least 3,000 rounds per person. Combat servants, immediately inspect all types of light and heavy weapons for readiness. There must be no oversight." Both the tall woman and the blonde man were quite surprised. Was all this pomp really necessary to deal with a so-called cultivator? Those who knew thought they were dealing with one person. Those who didn't might have thought they were facing an entire army. The first team had high combat proficiency. At Chu Xuan's command, the superhumans and combat servants swiftly completed their combat preparations. Now, they awaited the arrival of the enemy. Chu Xuan stood on an elevated position, looking toward the south while smoking a cigarette. The blonde man and the tall woman flanked him on either side, both a bit perplexed. The tall woman whispered, "Boss, is headquarters being too paranoid? Isn't that cultivator just another superhuman? Do we really need to have our brothers this battle ready? To be honest, our setup here could probably roll over the entire Han country. There aren't many forces that can withstand an assault by so many superhumans and combat servants." The blonde man also grumbled. "We've been out catching the zombie empress for nearly a month now. I want to go back and rest. I miss the beauties back in Science City. Chu Xuan responded calmly. I don't understand it either. But this order came directly from the city lord. Not from the strategic team at headquarters. Both the blonde man and the tall woman stiffened and then bowed their heads. The city lord. That was just a code name. The real name of the city lord was unknown to anyone. He preferred to be called the city lord rather than chairman, president, or doctor, since it was an order from the city lord. They were willing to comply, because the city lord had never been wrong. Chu Xuan continued calmly, I know you all want to rest. I want to rest too. The city lord said that after this mission, we could take a month off. Both the tall woman and the blonde man brightened up at this. Finally, a vacation. Cheers. After a moment's disappearance, a superhuman who had been vigilantly scanning the surroundings suddenly pointed to the sky and shouted. There's a green light in the sky. Chu Xuan's eyes sharpened. That's the cultivator. Fire. The satellite phone call from headquarters had made it clear the high-speed green light in the sky was the cultivator. Bang bang bang. Gun barrels spewed flames, and bullets exceeding 700 meters per second sliced through the air, aimed directly at the green light in the sky. However, all these bullets were stopped by an invisible shield, completely unable to reach the swiftly flying green light. Step aside, let me handle this. A battle servant sneered, promptly retrieving a shoulder-fired rocket launcher. A thunderous explosion resounded. The missile shot forth. The battle servant, brimming with confidence, believed his missile would undoubtedly strike the enemy. As the missile neared the azure light, merely 200 to 300 meters away, it abruptly detonated midair without any warning. Shards of metal scattered in all directions, cascading down with a rustling sound. Chu Xuan felt his scalp tighten. What method was that just now? He hadn't even caught a clear glimpse. On the green shadow shuttle, Chu Xuan gazed coldly at this contingent of superhumans. He held no fear of bullets fired from rifles. The Green Shadow Shuttle, being a top-grade Foundation establishment magic tool, could easily withstand such low-level thermal weapons. But the rocket launcher's missile, its power evidently surpassed that of rifle bullets. To be cautious, Chu Xuan released a wisp of spiritual chi, causing the missile to explode midair. In that instant, he realized the might of such thermal weapons. They indeed had the potential to damage a magic tool, if subjected to a barrage of missiles. Even if he wouldn't perish, several defensive magic tools would shatter. Chu Xuan summoned the corpse nurturing tower, releasing 3 streaks of black light. He casually commanded, "Kill them all." Roar. 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 The roars of Long, Hu, and Ba reverberated thunderously. Like pitch-black projectiles, they descended from the heavens, crashing directly into the fortifications of the first squad of superhumans. Several elemental superhumans and battle servants didn't even have time to react before being crushed into a pulp by the 3 corpses. Their supposedly formidable and sturdy fortifications were obliterated in an instant, reduced to fragments flying everywhere. Dust and smoke completely enveloped the area. Agonized screams echoed intermittently through the haze. It was as if 3 assassins, masters of slaughter, were performing a deadly dance. Fire into the smoke. Chu Xuan made the decision on the spot and yelled out the command. The blonde man and the tall woman, their hearts tightening, immediately joined in shouting the order to fire. Even if there were their own people in the smoke, they had to shoot. POW. 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 Rifles and machine guns continuously spat out flames. Two shoulder-fired rocket launchers also launched their missiles abruptly. Ben ben ban. Under such intense firepower, a normal human body would have been torn to shreds. Moments later, the barrels of the combat servants' guns glowed red-hot, forcing them to pause firing. The situation fell into an eerie silence. Then, from within the dust, a chilling chewing sound emerged. Crunch, crunch. It sounded like flesh being ripped from the bone, or like bones being crunched and the marrow sucked out. Not dead. Chu Xuan, the blonde man, and the tall woman all tensed, their eyes snapping to that area. Chu Xuan was particularly shocked. He had already learned from headquarters about the cultivator's abilities. One was controlling zombies. The other was manipulating fire. But zombies could not possibly jump down from nearly 100 meters high and remain unharmed. Nor could they withstand such a concentrated barrage of firepower. What kind of monster is this? Chu Xuan muttered to himself. Ben. Three towering, dark figures burst out of the smoke like three unstoppable bulls charging wildly. The combat servants widened their eyes in horror. They didn't even have a chance to react before they were smashed into pulp. Compared to them, the superhumans had slightly stronger bodies. They weren't smashed into pulp, but rather into 7 or 8 pieces of limbs and fragments. In the blink of an eye, another 5 or 6 superhumans were killed. The combat servants were completely wiped out. Chu Xuan fixed his gaze. The leading, exceptionally robust zombie bore only a few scorch marks. Some rifle bullets, twisted and deformed, were lodged within its muscles and bones. This terrifying creature's flesh was harder than steel. Chu Xuan watched as the hulking zombie lunged at the blonde man. From the zombie's grim and ferocious mouth emerged a harsh and guttural syllable. Die. The blonde man, an enhanced superhuman, had reinforced his legs. Seeing the dire situation, he immediately activated his psionic power, further strengthening his legs. In an instant, they swelled several times larger. He kicked the ground forcefully, preparing to dart away. At this critical moment, a piercing screech suddenly swept across the entire area. Everyone who heard it felt as if their brains had been struck by a massive hammer, leaving them momentarily blank. Even Chu Xuan, a level 6 superhuman, felt dizzy and almost lost his balance. The screech also affected the blonde man. Just as he was about to dash away, his movement abruptly halted. In those few fleeting seconds, the hulking zombie's fist, as large as a sandbag, smashed his skull. Blood and brain matter, mixed with shattered bone fragments, spurted out, flying far away. A large portion of his shattered brain was also flung out, only to be swiftly devoured by an agile zombie before it even hit the ground. A woman's scream rang out from the right. Chu Xuan looked intently. His most capable subordinate, the tall woman, had her head crushed by the screeching zombie. Dead. All dead. Chu Xuan murmured. Chu Xuan was somewhat distracted. As a level 6 superhuman, he had never been in such a dire and life-threatening situation before. But level 6 superhumans were supposed to be at the pinnacle among superhumans. They were the ones standing atop the pyramid. Why, then, were there such terrifying zombies jumping down from over 100 meters high? remaining unscathed under a dense barrage of firepower, blasting the head of a level 5 superhuman with a single punch. Such terrifying zombies, a total of 3 of them. Even more frightening was that mysterious cultivator remained suspended in midair without joining the battle. If the cultivator could control such terrifying zombie war machines, how powerful must they be themselves? Thinking of this, Chu Xuan's heart was overshadowed by a vast shadow. His usual aggressive and dominant aura, which usually knew no bounds, had disappeared without a trace. Now he understood. What level 6 superhuman? In the eyes of that cultivator, he was nothing more than an ant, a speck of dust. Roar! The burly zombie charged forward. Just a plain, unadorned, and unpretentious fist. Chu Xuan was somewhat dazed, but his experienced body instinctively reacted. Kun. His arms suddenly blocked in front of him. Hardened bones rapidly grew out, forming thick bone armor. His ability was to control his iron binds. He could grow bone claws like Wolverine, or form bone shields and armor to protect himself. That's why he consumed large amounts of food every day, converting it into nutrients to grow his binds. Normal people had only 12 pairs of ribs, but he had a whopping 20 pairs. In addition, extra bones had grown in the additional space of his chest and abdomen. Normally, they were hardly used, but in combat, these bones became lethal weapons. Chu Xuan had tested it before. By fully utilizing his stored bones, he could withstand the continuous bombardment of 3 single-soldier rocket launcher rounds. This was his trump card. Even though his will was shaken due to the enormous disparity in strength, he still wanted to test his trump card against the opponent. Come on, let me see what you've got. Chu Xuan took a deep breath and roared. However, before he could finish his sentence, the thick bone armor was shattered by the fist the size of a sandbag. Along with it, his head was pulverized. Bone fragments and shards flew everywhere, comparable to shrapnel from a grenade, deeply embedding into the ground and surrounding buildings. Who lifted Chu Xuan's headless body with one hand, emitting a deafening zombie roar. This sound was filled with the dominance of a superior over inferiors. Every surviving superhuman, regardless of what they were doing, clutched their heads and fell to the ground in terror. Those who had lost their will to fight were quickly dispatched, either by long crushing their skulls or by piercing their hearts. In the blink of an eye, the battlefield was devoid of life, leaving only rubble and scattered limbs and fragments, as if narrating the tale of a one-sided slaughter that had occurred here. Chu Xuan casually summoned back Long Bao and the corpses to the corpse tower. He did not pause for even a moment and continued northward. The bodies of these superhumans and combat servants contained energy far inferior to that of cultivators. Furthermore, the psionic cores within the superhumans had already been consumed by Long and Bao, so there was no need to collect them. The most shocked at this moment was He Shenlian, standing on the green shadow shuttle. From a high vantage point and as a bystander, he had a clear view of the entire battle. Ordinary superhumans and combat servants crumbled like fragile paper at the slightest touch. 2 level 5 superhumans were as weak as tofu. Even the captain of the first team, a level 6 superhuman known for his formidable defense, was as vulnerable as a watermelon, bursting apart with a single punch. Such a well-equipped team was easily torn to shreds by the 3 zombies under the Immortal's command. It was terrifying. After a brief shock, Joe rose on He Shenlian's face. That's right. He had made the right choice. He should indeed enlist this Immortal. Only he had the power to annihilate Science City. Over an hour had passed. Chu Xuan piloted the Green Shadow shuttle, already hovering above the headquarters of the Science City located in Yanjing City of the Yuyuan province. The Green Shadow shuttle, a top-tier flying magic tool, could traverse 1,000 li in a single hour, consuming merely a small spiritual stone for the distance. The direct distance between East Lake City and Yanjing City on the map was roughly 1,000 kilometers. Flying high above, there were no concerns of traffic jams or speed limits, allowing for a straight and uninterrupted course. Only occasionally, some reckless carnivorous birds attempted to taste Chu Xuan's metal. As the saying goes, to not return a favor is discourteous. Chu Xuan, ever so graciously, let Bao taste them instead. Indeed, the journey was swift. The Science City headquarters managed only the most basic response. Even the dispatch teams had not had time to retreat before Chu Xuan descended like the Grim Reaper. He surveyed the area below. A towering edifice stood there, marked by a massive logo. The words Science City boldly proclaimed its identity. "This is the place, this is it," he Shenlian murmured, his eyes moistening at the sight of the familiar building. Originally, Science City had acquired an ancient vessel and planned to conduct human experiments using live subjects. Being an orphan with a severe mental disorder, he naturally became the prime target for Science City. Later, thanks to the help of Ji Xinyu, he managed to escape from the underground research facility of this very building. Facing Chu Xuan, he Shenlian bowed respectfully. "Immortal, the ancient vessel is located in the underground base beneath this building." "Very well. You have 1 hour," Chu Xuan stated calmly. "In 1 hour, no one here will be left alive." With a casual wave of his hand, a surge of spiritual qi lifted He Shenliang to the ground. "Exterminate them." Chu Xuan then unleashed the tower. At his command, Lan and Bao corpses, like beasts freed from their cages, charged into the building. "You may join in the fun as well," Chu Xuan said as he brought out the blood beehive. The queen bee had been diligently hatching warrior bees, and the swarm had grown considerably in size. Countless warrior and worker bees streamed into the building through doors and windows. Blood, death, slaughter, and chaos spread like a plague throughout the entire Science City building. "Thank you," He Shenlian deeply bowed to Chu Xuan, seizing the chaotic moment to rush in as well. Chu Xuan casually took out a set of killing array discs and flags. This formation, known as the Earth Evil Demon Sealing Array, was a high-grade killing formation from the Foundation establishment stage, comprising 36 flags and a single array disc. Chu Xuan had acquired them after slaying Du and Faping and taking them from his storage bag. Despite its name suggesting it sealed demons, in reality, it could kill anything contained within its bounds. Similar formations numbered over a dozen in his collection. With a flick of his wrist, his spiritual sense guided the 36 flags into position around the Science City building. They are embedded into the concrete like nails. Thus, the prototype of the Earth Evil Demon Sealing Array was established. Once he inserted the spiritual stones into the array disc, every living being within the range of the formation would die in agony.